We'll need a gurney and a hangar bay. ETA 19.
Death at the gates again. Howling my name. Come on in, old buddy. Sorry I made you wait.
Hello there, Sarah from 17 once again. This is my Wolfenstein II, I Am Death Incarnate, no upgrade video walkthrough. This is the mission Roswell, and this is actually a pretty meaty segment for us to do some talking, for me to impart some information, some knowledge, and some tips and tricks to get you through this pretty decent level. For the most, you can stealth about 90% of this sequence, and then the one bit where it all kicks off, you can skip it, and that's exactly what we're going to do, because it's just the safest and most effective strategy that everybody can replicate. Starting on though, we have this massive vaulted cavern of a structure here, which is going to have a transportation system in it, and then of course, this guy takes one of our axes, so we have to hit him twice, which is a nice little visual example of the struggles that you'll be facing with the tomahawks. But I want to talk about the shooting now, so of course I'm not going to be using the iron sights because I hate them, even though there's a perk that increases your damage when you aim down sights. The shooting isn't intrinsically bad, it's just not as good as I would like it to be, compared to some of its, contemporaries. But the thing that you really need to know that's going to help you with this game is that when you shoot an enemy the first time, with no matter what you shoot it with, it pretty much makes the enemy flinch or in some kind of way stuns them. Of course, this doesn't work on some of the bigger, heavier enemies, but you can still stun those guys by hitting them in the face. The universal language of the combat in this game is to stun the enemy first and then kill them. So it doesn't really matter how accurate you are or what you're using, as long as you can tag them before they tag you, they will then be put into an animation that lets you finish them off. And that's kind of what Wolfenstein 2 is all about. It's about being first. It's about getting shots on target no matter where those shots land. As long as you can do that, you can stop them from shooting at you. Because all you're doing is making them not shoot you, and then they die. And that's kind of how you want to approach every shooting sequence. And that might sound kind of strange to some folk, because it sounds strange to me. I'm the guy normally who aims for the centre mass and aims for the head. Shoot them in the head, do more damage, right? Be more accurate, that's kind of the goal. Where that will help you in this game, but not as much as just making sure that they cannot attack. So that's how we're going to progress. But I'm going to be moving forward here, killing this robot. The audio is going to be off here, guys, because I accidentally had some music playing when I was recording, and when you record on PC, all the audio gets put into one file, so there was a bunch of music on this section. And I have no idea how I didn't notice. It just made the game better. I took a break, I was listening to some music, I'm like, let's get back to recording, boom, the game came on, the tunes were good, the action was good, we were kicking ass, and alas, I'm like, what am I doing? I can't do this, am I stupid? And I did half of the train level too, so I had to revert to an old save, but luckily I had one. So, the train can be almost exclusively skipped, and you're going to be able to pick up a bunch of axes that are going to help you on future moments. But follow my path, I'm going to get you through this with the least amount of effort. It's a really fun sequence, this. I really enjoyed figuring out the route. But the shooting, yeah. Shoot to stun, then finish off however you can, is the best way of approaching the gunplay in this game. It just certainly is. And let's talk a little bit more about Mein Leben. The trophy that's going to separate the gods from the other gods, because it's such a difficult ask of any player. And I wish everybody the most of luck if they're going for that. And if you get some solace in using strategies from my walkthrough to help you do that, Godspeed, brother, because that shit is so insane. I can't even fathom it. I can't even fathom a mind that can do it. And I like to think of myself as a very capable gamer, but even me, I don't think I could do it. And I was thinking of, I hate permadeath. I'll always hate permadeath. To me, it reminds me of arcade games, and arcade games were great, but you'll notice why they don't make them anymore, because nobody would fucking like them nowadays, because we're all too weak. People watch this video and they'll say things like, oh my god, how can you do this? This seems too difficult, or I can't even do this on easy, and things such as that. Well, I couldn't even do the arcade games back in the day on easy, because that shit was really hard. So, can you imagine a culture where that was the continued direction of gaming? I might actually have people watching my videos on YouTube, because we'd fucking need them, right? By the way, when you move behind these fellas, just do it with a pinch of salt, because if he turns around, it's nothing you did wrong, you're doing fine, it's this game being dumb. So just keep your distance, he's going to turn to the right, and all you have to do is the moment he starts walking, follow him and go through the doorway. If he sees you, not your fault, game is dumb, you should be fine. It should work, there's no reason why it shouldn't, but there's moments where this dude's turned around for no reason, and I was crouch walking, I wasn't wearing clogs, the game is just crazy. It's the difficulty. The difficulty has everything heightened so much that it leads to really confusing moments. But Mein Leben, I could understand, right, if you could use level select and you had to do an entire level without dying, and you just did each of the levels in sequence without dying. I think that sounds kind of cool, and I don't like permadeath. But the idea of doing these missions, because once you know them, these missions are about 6 minutes long. This is the longest mission so far. This is definitely a really tricky one for that idea, but if you think of Mein Leben as just one massive gauntlet and then you're done, next massive gauntlet, done, next massive gauntlet until the end of the game, it doesn't sound so scary, does it? It sounds like something you might want to do. Sounds like it might be challenging rather than just absolute garbage. But the entire game, without being able to do anything else, like, if you want to go and take a shit, you have to pause it. If you want to go and eat, you have to pause it. If your girlfriend turns up, you have to pause it. Like, what do you do? What happens if the phone rings and someone's died, And you're that person that can't not do something. You're obsessive and compulsive. Do you miss the funeral? This is what you're doing, machine games. This is what you're turning us into, a horrible people. But it's just crazy, right? I think it's so crazy. I'm very, very curious to see who does it. And Kotaku are going to make an article like, this person beat Mein Leben. It's like, I just like playing video games, so I sat there for 70 hours without sleeping while taking shots of ecstasy in my eyeballs. Good for you, dude. Good for you, Kotaku. But after you kill this guy just here, you're at about the moment when the platform's getting low enough for people to see you. So be very careful on this next section. What I'm going to do is I'm going to sprint all the way to a darkened corner. And you need to be careful here because I got seen 2 or 3 times trying to do this. And this time they didn't see me. And I did nothing different. This game is just goofy. So, once you're over here, you are in shadow, you're kind of far away, and what's going to happen is the enemies, because they're kind of alert, and you can see the subtitles saying nothing in this area and all that kind of good stuff, it means that they're patrolling and they're moving around looking for something, and it means that they're not on the paths they should be on. It also means that because this game is set on the hardest difficulty and it's fluent bullshit, that the enemies kinda know where you are, and they'll look towards where you are when they're pretending to look everywhere else. So if I make a move now to try and get on this platform and pull the lever, there's a diesel enemy in front of me that I'm keeping such a distance from. Do you see him behind the crate just north of me? He saw me from this distance, in this corner, just because he got a telegram a week ago, or some shit, that I'd be here. There's no conceivable way that they should be able to detect you the way they can, but you're not going to see any of this, guys, because this is the route when it didn't happen. And that's what makes Mein Leben even more ridiculous, because when shit kicks off, if you have full life like I do right now, that laser attack that diesel enemy can do, if he holds it on you for a second, you will die. And then you go all the way to the beginning, to the unskippable, I've brought you some porridge and some soup, and now you cannot skip the shit. All the way back to that. Fuck that cutscene, dude. The entire start of this game is longer than half the game because all of it cannot be skipped. I'm sick of shooting that fucking dog, I've done the intro now 5 times because of practice run, glitches, and moving from console to PC. And I must say that I'm sick of playing the intro. Now imagine going for Mein Leben. It's crazy, right? But pull the lever. We're now proceeding upwards. There's 2 choices now, folks. You can either go on the top way, or you can go on the lower way. Either way will work. I go top because I want to be quite aggressive, and the strategy works both ways. So there's nothing too bad here, but I really like this game. Do you remember the first Wolfenstein? And I don't mean the old ones, because I don't count those ones. They're not the ones I'm speaking about. I mean the New Order, the first remake of this series. There was a harder difficulty that you unlocked. There was 2 after you did Uber difficulty. One of them was permadeath, which was garbage, just like it always is. Fuck you developers who think this is good. And then the second one was, I think, hardcore or something like that. It took regenerating health out of the game. It kept uber difficulty, but removed regenerating health. Did you play that difficulty, guys? Because I did. Do you know what that difficulty was? It was hard! It was so hard! It was incredibly hard. It was so hard that I played it and I was like, yeah, I'm going to do uber difficulty because there's no achievement for this and this is really, really hard. That is what that's what the hardest difficulty should be. You know, it should be a difficulty where you question whether or not you have what it takes to do it. Not whether or not does your bladder uphold the time you'll need to do it. Like, this game could be tougher without removing saves. It really could. There's a lot of things they could do. And I think that would be really interesting. But they've gone for the laziest option. And I can't stand that that's the direction that modern gaming's moving towards. And isn't it interesting? We've seen this resurgence of difficult games. And I say difficult games with a drop of, a drop of sarcasm here because... face it, if it's a Souls game, it gets praised for difficulty. If it's Cuphead, they suck its dick for difficulty. If it's anything else that's difficult, it's bad and should be balanced and should be patched because it's too hard. So you can't have everything difficult because that pisses off the normal people, right? But you need a few things out there to give them a sense of accomplishment because playing FIFA's getting old now. And it's this weird thing of difficulty has a place. It's come back. It's come back in the strangest possible form, though. We have these shows on all the modern media outlets. Watch us beat Dark Souls. Prepare to try. All these other video series that are people doing the harder difficulties. I saw it the other day on, I think it was Game Informer or Games Radar, something like that. They were doing the hardest level on Super Mario Odyssey. You need 400 shines to unlock this super tough level that has no checkpoints, and we're gonna do it. That was what the blurb said. So they're advertising difficulty as this enticing, appealing feature that these websites can offer because it's getting some traction. Because we've realised that getting the sense of satisfaction from beating a game is what games are about rather than just having your hand held through the entire thing like a fucking dog. And games are going in such a strange way that the difficulty that's now getting more popular is being ignored in favour of this kind of super easy, generic, here's the answer because we couldn't think of anything more interesting, difficulty. And I find it really frustrating. Once again, guys, being aggressive here, really successful. I am not even crouching, that's how aggressive I am. You want to sit down here, though, because the robot to my right just there, he will stand up if you move without crouching around this area. But follow what I did just then. It's a really good opening gambit. The only thing left to do now is to kill the robot, kill the commander, kill his dog, and then there's two dudes patrolling, and then we can get the bomb, get the checkpoint, and then get the last section to get the hell out of here. This is a super cool level, but once again, without save points, it's going to really tax you. So good luck if you're doing that, you lunatic, new word, lunatic sexy person. But there's my Hail Mary tomahawks. Put them both down, pick them both up, hope you don't get screwed by the detection. Didn't see a detection then. Oh, that's unfortunate. Is it over here somewhere? There you go. Awesome. And then we can move onwards. But in an era where it seems like difficulty is once again being respected, it'd be nice to see people doing it justice. Because difficulty is an art form. It's not about making something so hard that it's pointless and stupid and poorly designed. It's about making something that pushes the person willing to push himself to the absolute limit to succeed. And I love that about games. I've always loved it. It's the reason I have this channel. It's the reason that I'm speaking on this video. Because there is such a genuine, interesting thing about forcing yourself into these situations where you know you're going to have a tough time. You know it's going to hurt. But you're willing to let it burn for a while so that you can see what the other side looks like. And it's an amazing aspect of this wonderful medium that we have. It's just, I feel like it's not where it needs to be, or where it should be, given the logical extension of what we've done before. So I'm going to hide over here so the robot moves into the middle of the room. The robot's going to stand and he's going to scan. You can stealth past this next section, but I get spotted immediately, so I decide to run. So I'm thinking about it, I move, and then boom, dude's just there, shotgun. Get the fuck out of dodge. So start running, and shoot those two guys as they come through there. I take a big hit there of 50 armor. I take an extra hit on the armor, and then we have to open the door. I think the door gives you iframes, but I'm not certain. Once you're through the door, you're good, and then this next section is going to come thick and fast. You want to put on your laser weapon. We're going to be killing one of the crazy teleporting diesel soldiers, and then we're going to be killing one of the armored diesel men. So pop it on, and then follow exactly what I do. Because this is about to get crazy. What I'm going to do, guys, is I'm going to jump over a side, go through a side room, and then I'm going to move as fast as I can while shooting, and that's the end of the video, guys. Hit that door, get the hell out of dodge. And you need to be quite quick here, because if you dilly-dally, you will get one of the diesel soldiers behind you, and he will kill you very quickly. And so he should. This is the hardest difficulty. But thank you very much for watching. I hope the guide is helping. And lastly, you take care now.